Thank you. You know, I kind of listen to country and western and gospel myself, but damn, I like that song. You know, there's a lot of leaders out there that love to quote great men. I got a quote for you. Well done is better than well said. You'll never hear them say that. You know, they always like to quote great men, but another one you won't hear. Thomas Jefferson said it was immoral, I have you know, to pass on our debt to our future generations. Immoral. You know, the same people will say it's immoral, but they'll abort babies. You know, they'll put us trillions of dollars in debt. You know, it's just absolutely nuts what they will sit there and say, but do. You catch me on that? Say, but do. Actions, not words. That's what it comes down to. That's why we're out here right now. That's why we have this voice that we have right now. That's why we're getting the power that we have right now, because that's what our founding fathers intended. They intended for you to be in charge, not them. They have forgotten it. They are supposed to be public servants. Now, these same people that want to take the high moral ground as far as not aborting babies will treat terrorists and coddle terrorists that want to kill us. You know, they say it's immoral to torture them. You know what? Line up every damn last terrorist, I'll torture my damn self. And I'm not just talking. Now, you got to remember, in the military, that's someone's mom and dad. That's someone's son, daughter, cousin, brother, sister. I mean, they are Americans. And for our leaders to sit there and treat terrorists better than they do our own Americans is wrong. And I hope you send that message today to John McCain. Because, quite frankly, he wants to legalize illegal immigrants. You know, I am not politically castrated. New word for political correctness, by the way. I am not politically castrated. Put a fence in, start shooting. End of story. That's how you take care of it. You know, I find it absurd I became famous for doing my job as an American. Think about it for a second. I asked a politician a question. I asked him why he think it was all right. I was about to realize my American dream. And sure, it made up towards $250 or so like that. But for a small business, that ain't a lot of money, I'll have you know right now. But for a small business, he wanted to penalize me by adding taxes an extra 3%. That's just wrong. You know, that keeps people from working hard to attain their American dream. We don't breed mediocrity in this country. We breed exceptionalism. So listen, you know, it's not right. It's not easy doing what's right. I tell my son that all the time. It is not easy doing what's right. But America was built on doing what's right. We got a long line of people willing to work hard for a living. And we expect our government to get out of our way. That's what it comes down to. So, you know, there's a couple things out there real quick. Now, the Tea Party, I kind of look at as being like a church. You know, the main focus is God in a church, right? It's not the pastor, it's not the priest, it's not the deacons. The main purpose is God. So if you go to a church and you don't like it, you go to another one, right? Okay, the Tea Party is the same way, because in the mainstream media, you hear a lot of infighting between the Tea Parties. And I want to let you know there are other Tea Parties that you can go to. If you don't like the leaders in your Tea Party, there's another Tea Party you can go to, because the bottom line, we're out here for freedom and liberty. Tell the Tea Party leaders to forget their egos, forget the little quarrels that they have amongst each other, because the bottom line is liberty and freedom. That's why we are out here. You know, we cannot allow our Constitution, we cannot allow our military members to be made a mockery of anymore by our federal government. Now, people ask me, well, why are you in Arizona? You don't have a stake here. Yeah, I do. You know, I go to New Mexico, I go to Oregon, I go to Texas, I go everywhere. You know why I have a stake in what goes on here?
United States!
Well, it is the United States, absolutely, but unfortunately, your senators and congressmen, they propose laws that will affect me in Ohio, because they're no longer representing Arizona to Washington, they represent Washington to you. That's not the way it's supposed to work. They're supposed to be public servants representing their constituents, which means you guys. So when you have people like Barbara Boxer who embrace raising children according to the UN, you know, I'm a dad. I know how to raise my son. I don't need the UN guidelines to tell me what to do and how to be a parent. And we do not need leaders to embrace the UN to teach you guys how to be parents. All right? We don't need that kind of leadership there. They're supposed to be protecting us and our interests, not the world interests. You know, let's talk about political castration some more, because we got to stop it. You got to speak your mind as Americans. I don't know how many people came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, you asked a great question, but I'll never do it. Look what happened to you." That is the wrong answer. You don't ask those questions all the time. Don't worry about what mainstream media says. Don't even think about it. Don't worry about what your neighbors said. But you got to have the respect of your family and friends. The rest of the world can go to hell. All right? Now let's keep this in perspective here. There's Iran out there right now. They're trying to arm themselves. What are our leaders doing about it? Do you feel safe? No, I don't feel safe. I don't know why we're not bombing them right now. Why do we give them a chance to arm themselves? These are common sense questions. This is not rhetoric. This is not hate-filled talk. These people hate us. You know, and so people are afraid to speak their mind. They're afraid to say, this is how it is. You know, quite frankly, I don't care if your mom beat you when you're 9. If you go out and kill 4 people, you should get the death chair. All right? Stop trying to explain it. Stop trying to make excuses for it. Bottom line, he did it. He should be in trouble. I mean, these are our laws. So I'm not out here as a lunatic fringe. I'm just telling people we need to respect our laws, obey them, and actually follow them, instead of having our leaders and some nut job saying, well, it's not his fault. His mommy was mean to him. Listen. Accountability. Now, my main message out here, are 4 issues with political castration in the mix. It comes down to individual responsibility, like this gentleman said over here. Responsibility anymore is a bad word these days. Our leaders blame other people. Charlie Rangel blamed his staff that I didn't know they were corporate sponsored, that I flew around on. Senator Dodd lied to us and said he didn't put that writing in the AIG bill that gave all these guys millions of dollars. I mean, they lied to us on a regular basis. You know, Barbara Boxer, McCain, Lindsey Graham. I mean, these guys lied to us. Yeah, Pelosi, the new cuss word. It ain't BS no more, it's Pelosi. Ooh, I almost stepped in some Pelosi, you know. So it comes down to individual responsibility. It's up to you guys to do what's named. You got to figure out if you're committed enough, like our founding fathers were to this great country, like our military members are committed enough. Are you committed enough? Did you bring 10 friends with you today? You know, you got to find out what your commitment is. Are you going to get behind your candidate through walking through signs, going through neighborhoods and saying, this is the guy we need to vote? Are you going to give him his money? You look at it as investment, not about him taking your money, because the guy you get behind wants to save you money. He wants to further American causes. This is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. This is an American issue. Accountability. We got individual responsibility. We got accountability. If I come to your house and fix your sink, it leaks, are you going to call me back? Do I get to charge you more money? No! What does Washington do? We let them. We let them, exactly. We let them. So accountability, we got to hold these guys accountable. They got to fulfill their oaths. They got to do their duty as representatives, as being a public servant. Education. That's the third. Education. It is key. You have to know your history. Everyone asks me, well, Joe, what do you read? How do you know the stuff you know? I read history books. There is nothing new underneath the sun. This has been done before. The decay and everything, it was called Rome. I read history books. If you read your history books, you will be armed enough to talk to anybody. But you got to read a history book that's 30 years old. Read your history. Teach your kids. That's what you got to do. Then it comes down to the Constitution. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exactly. Because the men that created the Constitution are a hell of a lot smarter than the men and women that are leading us now. I'm not saying anything new. This is stuff my dad taught me. This is stuff my grandpa taught me. It's very much common sense. So that's all I'm talking about. This is stuff that's been around for a while. We got to get back to the basics, people. Get rid of the bureaucrats. Get rid of all the BS that's out there. Let's get back to common sense. And please always respect your military members. Thank you very much for showing up. God bless you.